Okay, so for mental math and fluency for today's lesson, Unit 7, Lesson 2, for the first problem, 4/5. So one way to decompose 4/5 using unit fractions would be if we wrote 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. Sorry, I can talk faster than I can draw. Plus one more fifth is equal to 4/5. So that's using unit fractions. I want you to come up with one more way to decompose 4/5. So pause the video and come up with a way. So you could do 2/5 plus 2/5. You could do 3/5 plus 1/5, or you could do 1/5 plus 3/5. You could do 0/5 plus 4/5, 4/5 plus 0/5. Okay, so there's lots of different ways to do 4/5. We're going to move on to our math message now. The Social Studies Club wants to make paper mache globes. To make the paste, each club member will mix 3/4 of a cup of white glue with 1/4 cup water. The club has 9 members. They have 1 quart of water. Is there enough water for everyone? Okay, so that's what we need to figure out for the math message. I'm going to pull up my drawing that we used yesterday in our lesson that has the gallons, quarts, pints, and cups, because here they're talking about cups and they're also talking about quarts. So I need to understand how many cups are in that quart to see if I do have enough water. So if I look at 1 quart, I see that there are 4 cups in 1 quart. So that's what I have to work with. I have 4 cups of water and there are 9 people. So I want you to see if you can figure out how much water that would be and is there enough for everyone. So go ahead and pause the video and figure that out. Okay, so after you have your solution, we're going to go through some different strategies. One way you might have done this is if you know that there's 9 people and they each get 1/4 cup of water, then you could do 1/4 plus 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 1/4, and that would equal 9/4. Now, what multiplication equation would go with this? So if this is 9 groups of 1/4, okay, so that's what that means. It's 9 groups of 1/4. We know that repeated addition is the same as multiplication. So 9, this groups of means multiplication, and then 1/4. So 9 times 1/4 is equal to 9/4. We could also just kind of make some connections. I know that 4/4 up here would be equal to 1 whole. Okay, so there's 1 whole. 4 more fourths would equal another whole. So there's 2 wholes, and then I have a 4th left. So 4/4 equals 1 whole. 8/4 would be 2 wholes. So 9/4 would be 1 more fourth than that. So the answer would be 2 1/4. And 9/4 and 2 1/4 would be equivalent. You could also draw a picture. So you know I'm not an artist, and it's even harder to draw on a computer. So this is what it turned out to be. But I have 3 bars here broken down into fourths, and then I just numbered them 1 through 9. So here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4. You can see I have 2 wholes plus 1 more fourth out of the 3rd one. Or if you had fraction pieces like we do at school, or if you have fraction pieces at home, you could also lay out fraction pieces, and these are each fourth. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4. That's just some different ways that you could have done this problem. So then, if we look at that, we know that we have 2 1/4 cup of water is what we need. Okay, so if it takes 9/4 cups of water, if we go back and look at our picture, they want to know between what two whole numbers is this. So if we go back and we look at the different strategies that we could have used, this is two wholes, and then we used part of a third whole. So we've got two wholes and part of another one. So our answer would be between 2 and 3. More than two wholes, less than three wholes. And then how much water is left over after we do the activity. So remember how many we started with in a quart. We had how many cups? 4 cups. And then we have to subtract what we used. So when we did our math, we found out that we used 2 1/4 cups of water. So we would have to do a fraction problem like this, 4 minus 2 1/4. Now remember, if we have 0/4 up here, which is what this blank spot means, we cannot subtract 1/4 from it without getting negatives. So what we need to do is we need to have some fourths over here. So we're going to borrow one of our wholes, and we're going to trade that whole, and we're going to break it into fourths. So how many fourths would make up that whole that we removed? And the answer would be 4/4. So 3 4/4 would be the same as 4 wholes. And now we can subtract. 4/4 minus 1/4 is 3/4. And 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay. Now, so we have 1 3/4 cups of water left. So what two numbers is this between is what they want to know next. Well, it's more than 1 and it's less than 2. So it's between 1 and 2 wholes. Now, if we have 1 3/4 cups of water left, is there enough to do this over again? And the answer would be no, because it took 2 1/4 cups of water to do it, and 1 3/4 is less than 2 1/4. So there would not be. So you could, to show the answer to that, you could, see if I can get my cursor to work. It never works for that, sorry. Because you could write an equation like 2 1/4 is more than 1 3/4. Okay. So that way you know that there is not enough because 2 1/4 is more than what you have. And if you had 1 3/4 cups left, how many kids could make another batch? Okay, so if you have 1 whole and 3 more fourths left, and it said that each student would have to have 1/4. So here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. Okay, so that's our whole, and then we have 3/4 left. So we have 1, 2, 3/4 on this one. So we have 1 whole plus 3 more fourths. And each one of these would represent a student that could make the paste again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more kids could do that project. Okay, so there's one more problem we're going to go over. And that's the second part of the math message. Now we're going to talk about the paste. We've done the water, now we're going to talk about the paste. So there are still 9 members in the club, but now they're going to use the glue instead of the water. So we've already done the water part, so we don't really need to worry about that. But each student is going to need 3/4 of a cup of white glue. So we have a half a gallon of white glue. So I'm going to slide this over because remember this is a whole gallon. So I'm going to slide this over so I can only see half of it. Okay, so now I can see half of the gallon and how many cups, how many cups are in a half a gallon? So how many C's do you see in that picture now? It'd be 2, 4, 6, 8. So we have 8 cups of 8 cups of glue paste that we're working with, and we need to know if they can they do this? Is there enough glue for all of them to do it? So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure this out. How would you do that problem? Okay, so here are some solutions that you could have done, some different strategies that you could have used. You could have done the repeated addition, 3/4 plus 3/4, do it 9 times, you'd get 27/4. Or you could write a multiplication equation that would be the same as this. So if we were going to write a multiplication equation, we know that this problem that we wrote up here is the same as 9 groups of 3/4, which would be the same as 9 times 3/4, which would equal 27/4. We could make some connections. We know that 4/4 is 1 whole, 8/4 is 2 wholes, 12/4 is 3, 16/4 is 4, 20/4 is 5, 24/4 is 6, and 27/4 is 6, and then we have 3 more fourths, or 6 3/4. We could draw a picture. Okay, here's another one of my beautiful pictures. So I have a whole bunch of fourths here. Now for this one, I separated it by the students. So here's student 1, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So that's how much that person needed. And then the second person also gets 3. The third person also gets 3/4. The fourth person, fifth person, sixth person, seventh person, eighth person, and ninth person. So as you can see, it's 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, 4 wholes, 5 wholes, 6 wholes, and then these are all fourths, so 6 3/4 would be our answer. So if you had 27/4, you are correct. If you had 6 3/4, you are correct. All right, we're going to go ahead and look at the home link, which I'm going to attach, and I'll just kind of talk about what you're going to do on the home link, and then I will post a separate video with the work done with me talking about how to do it. So you're going to be looking at the amount of sugar in certain drinks. Okay, so you have a table here that shows 4 different kinds of drinks, the amount of sugar in each one of those, and they're all 12-ounce containers. So Carmen drinks 1 12-ounce can of orange soda every day. So the orange soda has 1/4 cup of sugar, and she's going to drink one of those every day. So how much sugar is that in 1 week? So you need to know how many days are in 1 week. So think about that for a second. And that would be 7. So think about how you would do that problem. And then number 2, if you drink 1 12-ounce glass of cranberry juice every day, how much would that be in 2 weeks? Okay, so the cranberry juice has 1/4, same as the orange soda. But now you're drinking it for 2 weeks instead of just 1 week. So how many days would there be in 2 weeks? And that would be 14. So how would you do that problem? And then Mike drinks 3 12-ounce servings of sweet tea per day. So this is how much, 1/6 in every sweet tea, but he's doing that 3 times a day. And so how much would he drink in 1 day? And then how much would he drink in 5 days? Okay. And then down at the bottom, you have 4 multiplication problems that you could use partial products, lattice, or the box method. So I will post the answers later, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.